Lucky you.
36 best
Tuned
holes in
into
golf.
Alternate Shots podcast,
Barney's Army.
where we talk about golf,
Sandy.
poker,
James Bond.
horse racing,
Double.
classic movies.
Zenyatta.
We have no script.
Down the stretch they come.
We are glad you joined us.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
As you can see, we're not professionals. Billy Regan, Bob Williams over here. We do have some experience around golf. Both of us been playing more than 50 or 60 years. Much of it out here on these 36 holes that we're going to talk about. Perhaps the greatest 36 holes of golf.
Winged foot has influenced golf, not modern day golf the way it is now, because clubs are different. And I get all that. I work at one that's different. But Winged foot has had more influence on the real golfers, in my opinion, than any club I've ever been around. Nothing's even close to it.
You wouldn't go to the Live Tour if you were asked?
No, sir. No. And today, I mean, even when I was out there, I heard girls, I just want to make the cut. I just want to make the cut. Wait, are you playing just to make the cut, or are you playing to win a tournament? And I think now we've got so many just playing, I just want to finish in the top 10. You know, it's the money. I played because I loved the game and I wanted to win.
And we'd be the first ones out with you remember Massey, Lund, and Moran and those guys. They would play in a threesome a lot. So my papa would take 2 bags and I'd take the other. And
they were basically weekend, drinkers, and they went deep.
Oh.
And they weren't very fast, and they were not good golfers. They would go off the first West, and by the second, Bobby, there's a snake over there. I got to get the snake bite out. And they go in the bag, pick, the Burton bag, and open up the zipper and bring out the flask. Second hole all the way to 18. It was amazing they could get in, right?
It was. I went to my papa. I said, "What's this snake? What are they talking about?" And then they go in the bottle and take out a swig of whiskey or whatever.
Little nipper.
They were traditionalists. That's how the game was invented for 18 holes. Was how long it took to drink 18 shots. And
One West, Tuesday morning, quiet, and we got the whole course from first ones off and whatnot. And I said, Mr. Moran, I'm out with you every Saturday and Sunday with my papa. I said, if you listen to me, I think you could have your best score. I said, but you got to listen to me every shot. And he goes, all right, we'll give it a shot. So One West, what he would do is hit driver. They weren't that good and they weren't that long. So he'd hit driver 3-wood into that bunker every single time in that bunker 50 yards short of the green. Then he'd fat it. Then he'd scull it over the green and he'd make 7. So he hits a beautiful drive right down the middle. And he goes, okay, I give him the 6-iron. He goes, what are you doing? He goes, I can't get home with that. And I said, well, you can't get home with 3-wood either. The best you can do is hit it in that front bunker. So he hits 6-iron short of the bunker, hits a 9-iron on the green and makes a putt. First time he ever parred the hole.
No way.
Yeah.
You took 3 strokes off right off the bat.
Off the first hole. And then we just go on and on and on. So the guy shoots 88. First time he ever broke 90 in his life. And we had a blast. He was going nuts. And he goes, back then $8 was your typical, it was your typical loop. So he goes, I'm going to give you $1 for every age you are. How old are you, Bobby? And I said 50.
nothing like the match that Sean Connery and what was Auric Goldfinger's name?
Gerda Frobe.
Gert Frobe had at in Goldfinger, where Bond misses a short putt at the end, and then they, it's like strict rules of golf. You played the wrong ball.
That's right. Well, there are 2 stories basically. Bobby told the story the other day about
Bobby Collins.
Bobby Collins told the story about me trying to hit the ball, open the face of the 5-wood and hit the ball on the green because I hit a really long drive. It was easy to hit a long drive because the turf was frozen. But I hit a really long drive and I thought I could get home, and I hit the tree and it dropped in the lake. And I started marching out in the lake, and he said, "What are you, crazy?" I said, "No, we're going out there." Well, he didn't know that I had done that previously. Maybe the week before I hit it over the trees, but it didn't get far enough and it stopped out in the lake. So I walked out in the lake and I wedged it up on the green and made my par. well, the following week when I hit the one and it hit the tree and dropped down, and that's when I walked out on the ice with him, and he thought I was nuts, but we survived. By the way, it was walking out. If you walk out on the ice, it creaks, and it scared the hell out of Bobby.
My first lesson at Wingfoot. This is a funny story because I was standing in the shop. It was April or maybe end of March. And Tom had asked me to be for ladies opening day. He said, you have to be for ladies opening day. And so I'm there, and opening day is the second week of April normally. But it was snowing. It was really cold. You know me, I don't like the cold weather. And I'm in the shop, and Mr. Forsman comes in. And I said, you remember Paul Forsman?
Sure.
He comes in, and he said, I heard that we hired a new assistant professional. And I said, that's me. Alicia D. Was nice to meet you. And he goes, are you ready to give a lesson? And I said, Mr. Forsman, it's snowing outside. And he goes, don't you have a jacket? I said, yes, I do. So I gave my first lesson to Mr. Forsman
In the
on the
snow.
range, and I was freezing. It was so cold. It was so nice, and we became the best friends.
Well, it was a great referral until there was the generals of the army under the king revolted when Claude was there, and he got the bejesus beat out of him. The revolt was put down, but Claude Harmon came back. I mean, he had nothing. He was black and blue from his ankles to his chest.
Oh,
I
so
mean,
he was roughed up.
getting beat up with rifle butts. So when you think that when the King of Morocco calls, that you, boy, man, this is payday. Well, it's not always payday.
It's not fair to compare Donald Ross to a Tillinghast or a Siway to Wingfoot, but would you be willing to stake 10 of the best putters at Siway against 10 putters from Wingfoot? Play a course somewhere, a few holes at Siway and a few holes at Wingfoot, and see who comes up the winner?
If the Siway guys were allowed to drink before the tournament, I would
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Have X-outs are they extinct now?
Really, that's a great question. So,
Well, parting thoughts on 4 West, other than it's not a gentle stroll down a 415-yard par
My
4.
parting thoughts would be the same as my brother Neil's parting thoughts. Put the swale back in. I'd love to see them do that.
The real money was in parking cars, and yeah, you could caddy and you could be out there for hours making money in contacts, but that was the part that I really liked. So 62
was the real money in the glove compartment of the cars or in the tips?
Don't get me started. Huh? There were some shady characters. We had to lock those cars.
Yeah, I bet.
Did you ever have any cars stolen under your watch?
We always had to be careful with the doctor's cars. Let's just say that.
If it was another Tom Collins, they might have to put me to sleep. So welcome aboard, Marty. It's great to have you.
When my dad first started caddying, he introduced himself to Gene, and he said, "I'm Pat Collins." He goes, "Collins? You bet you have a brother named Tom Collins." And he goes, "Hey, Tommy, knows you."
Mickelson looked at it, and I think it was Saturday or Sunday, and he took out a hybrid. It's only 160, 155, maybe 162. And it looked like he was trying to scoop a scoop 4 hybrid or whatever over that bunker by the green and on, right? So he's looking at the shot and he goes at it. Darned if he didn't hit it 8 feet.
Right.
He only hit it not 8 feet to the pin. He hit it 8 feet from where he started.
Right.
So you think about how he lost that open. He might have lost it here on the 5th hole trying that shot rather than taking a wedge, just popping it down there. A wedge from where he was would have rolled right in front of the green, right? Maybe.
You look at that tree, and I'm not an agronomist, but I have learned over the years, and as many of us had with taking down a lot of trees on golf courses, it's extremely difficult to maintain a green to that level with a tree that size, because the tree sucks up a lot of the nutrients that are meant for the green. But again, the crew at Wingfoot manages to work around that, and that tree, you know, it's almost sacred, that tree. It's an amazing standout. And the fact that these guys can keep the greens as good as they do with a tree like that is a real testament to their ability.
I do remember this green having many more trees to the left, in the back over there. 5 West is behind the elm tree.
Yeah.
And over to the right. But now you just see this. It's kind of like, you know, the Statue of Liberty or the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It stands out onto its own. Even your brother Neil taught me back when they were tearing down some trees over there to the left of 6 West. He said, Bobby, once they take that down, you know, you'll see this elm. Certainly when
like it's
you're
on
coming up 5 West rather.
And so he was the man. He was, I got along with him really well. He was very funny all the time, kind of like teasing members and stuff. A lot of laughing.
Yeah, I remember.
He was the best. And so
I remember one of the stories about Sal was when somebody's wife was calling, and Sal would say he's not here, and then the wife finally said, Sal, when are you going to stop lying to me? And Sal said, when are you going to stop asking me? So
it was really funny. Yeah, he would you know Mr. Shields?
Yep.
So Mr. Shields and Mr. Harnett used to play like once or twice a week, every week, and they would come over to the locker and, you know, go into the shower, you know, together, very slow. And then at the end, they would say to Sal, okay, Sal, so I'll see you. And he kind of like didn't remember when he was going to come again. So Sal was like, all right, I'll see you when I see you.
Just to clarify something, that story you told about Sal and Mr. Shields and Mr. Hartnett, you said they went into the shower together. I just want to clarify that they didn't go
at the same time.
They went separate showers. They just went into the room together, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
They really didn't know what it was then, Bob. It was they went to Mayo Clinic, and he always told the story about how his father, my grandfather Fred, who worked at Harding Park and was kind of his you know, guide over the years, and he never really said anything. My dad, you know, complimented him or just was always pretty tough on him, but he was driving him to the airport that day to take him to Mayo Clinic for his operation. And my dad said to my grandfather, he goes, you know, Dad, he goes, I don't know if I may never play again. You know, they're going to cut me open. I don't know, you know, I may never play. And my grandfather said, it doesn't matter, son. And he said, well, what do you mean it doesn't matter? He says, you were the best I ever saw. And that was my dad's kind of vote of confidence opinion.
Yeah, Billy was super talented. People don't realize Butch won the BC Open. Butch actually won a PGA Tour event. So he was obviously very talented. But I think you're right. And I think if you had asked Claude, I think that's what he probably would have said too. Billy was incredibly talented. And anyway.
What I just learned is that the Wingfoot membership owes the Grateful Dead a great deal of gratitude. Because there would be no Birdman at Wingfoot if it weren't for the Dead.
Well, actually, you could turn it around and say, actually, I owe the Wingfoot membership a lot of gratitude, because without Wingfoot, I would have never gotten to any of those concerts. I would come in and out. I would work for like a week or two, and then in between tours, and boom, and then I was gone. And I got one last great story for you. So I'm caddying for Jerry Haas, who's Jay's younger brother, in the Open at Shinnecock, and Billy's caddying for Jay. Guy by the name of Lynn Strickler, who was a legend, was caddying for Curtis Strange, and we're playing a practice round, and Tom Watson joins us. Bruce Edwards is caddying for Tom Watson. So we go out. Watson just joins us. So Bruce stays back on the tee because Watson's still getting his act together. So we go out on the back nine. We're 4 caddying, and I just come off a Grateful Dead tour. And they look at me and they say, we know you're holding. Get it out. Break it out. So I pull out a joint, we light it up in the practice round, and Lynn is kind of fumbling around, and he goes to Billy, Billy, give me a cigarette. And Billy goes, what do you want a cigarette for? And he says, and he had a voice like Clint Eastwood. He said, I don't want to have to tell Curtis he's got 138 to the front and have it come out Lebanese. So hand me a cigarette.
Preparing for a member guest every day because there's somebody that's bringing a guest that wants to get the Winged Foot experience. I mean, it's Winged Foot, right? I mean, it's the best 36 holes in golf.
I think that sums that up.
Today, this is unbelievable, incredible. We're in the Winged Foot locker room, and I'm just going to say this is the Belmont, the third leg of the Triple Crown, right?
And we're on the poker table too, by the way.
Oh, yes.
You're touching all the bases, boys.
We're on the poker table. You can see the poker table, but we
Horses,
won't do everything,
poker.
but-
Our special guest is Chris Mara, who has an extensive knowledge of both winning and losing money at the racetrack with horses and any other side bets, split pots and everything else. Been following the horses as long as I've known him. I think he caught the habit from his father, as did I. And I don't know how many Belmont Stakes we've been to together. We'll go to this one again. Probably 10 or 12 of them, including the day my youngest daughter was born, much to the chagrin of Chris's mom, who looked at me like, what the hell's the matter with you?
Your mother had a few children. Did your father have the occasion of being at a track when one of you or when she was in labor? This could have happened by accident.
No, but I will say this.
Maybe it was you.
I will say this. My dad used to go to the Derby every year, and there was a lot of first communions on the first Saturday in May that he missed.
I suppose he can be okayed for that, but he never missed a birth because of
no, he never.
$2.
He might have missed one on a scouting trip, but way back when.
Well, that's work.
I wonder if it ever crossed his mind to maybe switch to Lutheran or something.
Well, we have one service, and you can miss a lot.
I know one thing: the rhythm method didn't work. We had 11 kids, so.
Most tenure. He started the year before Bobby Jones won the first Open, held at Winged Foot, right?
He asked me, so I used to go out and play at night. He said, oh, you go play last night, Junior? And I'd say, yeah. And he'd be like, what'd you hit into 18? And he meant 18 West. And I said, oh, I hit a 6-iron at 175 yards. And he'd be like, Bobby Jones flipped a little sand wedge in there from 70 yards, 1929, with a gutta percha ball. It's like, you're nothing, Junior.
It'd be kind of nice to accumulate all the great athletes from Babe Ruth to Mickey Mantle and guys like that were kind of regulars at Winged Foot over the years, right?
Yeah, I used to see, speaking of sports, I used to see George Steinbrenner at Winged Foot sometimes. I heard him calling in the lineup from the men's grill one time. So anyone who says he wasn't, I can vouch for the fact that he was. So
You sure he wasn't firing Billy Martin?
no, I heard him. I heard him to go through the lineup. He wanted Oscar Gamble and right field. It was funny. It was funny.
Well, we have to ask you, what's your favorite hole at Winged Foot?
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite hole, Winged Foot. My God, how about 1 through 36?
Winged Foot's a golf club first. And the way that people gather at Winged Foot is different than most places you go. And you hear that all the time. If you bring friends up to Winged Foot, even people who have been there, that moment when they're in the grill room and it's, you finish playing, let's say at 4:00 and it's now 6:00 and everybody's laughing, having a great time. We're like, oh my God, I never want to leave here.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Why
I
would
think
you want to
that-
leave? Right time of year at 6:00, you might be going back out for an emergency 9.
Exactly.
But you guys are terrific. You know what? When I walk at Winged Foot, and I walk a lot on the course, and I feel privileged to walk on the grass that every great player that's ever played the game has walked on.
Thanks for joining us
Casper,
today.
Billy
We
Harmon,
really appreciate your
Double
feedback.
Indemnity,
And please
Arky,
subscribe to the
Two
show
Outer,
and hit
Claude
the bell
Harmon,
icon so you get notified.
Movie Classics,
New episodes.
Mark Gable,
Hit them
Odd
hard
Job,
and hit them off.
Best 36 Holes.